Hi everyone, my name is Mitch, and for those who are kind of like new to my channel, what I basically do is share a little bit bits and pieces of our life here in Toronto. We used to live in Japan last year, so yeah, welcome. Yes, so today I wanted to kind of like share a little bit more about how much does it really cost to live in Canada, and specifically I'm going to be talking more kind of like the data and the numbers for Toronto specifically, because that's where we live. It definitely differs of course, you know, from province to different cities here in Canada. So disclaimer out there, this is just for Toronto, and I might be wrong, and like this is just our whole experience. So yeah, I'm gonna be talking about kind of like 3 categories on our monthly expenses. So that would be first rent, and then I'm going to be talking about transportation or public transportation, and also I'm going to be talking about food. So I know there's much more monthly expenses, but those are just some of the things or like basics that I wanted to talk about, so it can help you out into whenever you want to move to Toronto, or you're looking to move here, or you're already here. So let's start. So I'm going to be talking a lot more, or the basic chunk of this video would be on rent. I know it's a very tricky topic just because people have different opinions on how much rent is here in Toronto, but this is based on our experience. So yeah, so when we moved here, we were kind of like staying in Airbnbs for a few months, and then we finally found a place. In our experience, like finding a place, a good place in Toronto is very, very difficult. The reason was that there's a lot of demand. So although a lot of the apartments are really expensive, specifically like condos, there's demand for that. A lot of people are moving to Toronto because there are a lot of job opportunities in here. So there's that kind of like huge demand. So we kind of like started to look through different apartments near kind of like an MRT or a subway. But if you're looking for that kind of apartment, it's actually very expensive because it is near kind of like your public transportation. So we started to look on different neighborhoods as well. We started and settled in through kind of like a Midtown or Forest Hill area. So Forest Hill area is actually considered kind of a very residential area where there's a lot of like big houses and stuff like that. But we managed to find kind of like an apartment. It's a mid-rise apartment. It only has like 3 floors, and it is quite old. So when I say old, it's probably been built out many years ago. However, it was a little bit cheaper compared to other apartments out there. Although the building is quite old, I find that our apartment is still fine. It's not like where it's gonna die soon or anything like that, but I find it that it's okay for the price. So a 1-bedroom apartment that we got is around 1,600 Canadian dollars, which is quite, to be honest, an expensive compared to the property market in here. So just a quick comparison, a lot of my friends who are staying in condos typically pays around $2,000 to $2,500 to even $3,000. So like that kind of price, like $2,000 to $2,500, are actually just 1-bedroom condos. So if you're looking at 2-bedroom, it's probably going to be around somewhere around 2,600 and up. It's really quite expensive knowing that it's just 1 bedroom, but if you prefer kind of like condo apartment, then that's kind of like the range. So if you're just happy like renting out like a normal apartment or like a normal building like this one, you're probably gonna get something like this, which is 1,600. But you'll see a lot of people who rent out 2-bedroom condos, and then they would rent out the other room, or like what they call like a den. It's not really a room, it's more of like a small space without doors, and they're probably gonna rent that out ranging from $900 to even $1,200 just for 1 bedroom. So that's kind of like how much the price is. I'm pretty much sure, or I'm pretty sure that there's quite a few more, maybe cheaper or whatnot, but based on our experience, like 1,600 for 1 bedroom is probably gonna be inexpensive, and like that's not even the average price. The average price for 1 bedroom would be around 1,800. So that's kind of like the rent. I'm probably also gonna be talking about how much is electricity and hydro. So hydro is what they like the term they use for water, and I think it's gas, and the heat or heating system in your apartment, because this is Canada, of course it's gonna be like harsh winter and you need to have heaters at home. So our typical kind of like electricity monthly would be around $50, which I think is fine. It's quite inexpensive, to be honest. And in terms of the heating system, the gas, or sometimes they have like gas, and the water, that is included in our rent for 1,600. So I think that's quite cheap. So for other condos, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not included. So you have to see which one is not and which one is included. And at the same time, like we pay for our internet separately. So for internet, it may vary. The one we have is a little bit expensive because we have like different services, like not cable TV, but like an online cable TV-ish. So we pay $100 for 100 Mbps, and we also have a phone line. So it really adds up. Not just your rent, but you have to pay for your electricity. You have to pay for insurance as well, which is around $20 to $25, and your internet. So that's kind of like how much it is in terms of just the whole apartment itself, like it's a package. So now I'm gonna be talking about transportation. So we figured that it'll be best to use public transportation here rather than just to buy a car, because it is more expensive. That would probably be another topic, but I wanted to talk a little bit more about how much would it cost if you're gonna commute every day to work and probably on the weekends. So here in Toronto, they have what they call TTC, which is their public transportation. And every month, what we do is we buy a monthly pass. So this is what they call like Presto. So basically it's a card where you could reload money in it. You can reload a monthly or weekly pass. Just because we commute every day, it makes more sense. It's cheaper actually to put in kind of like a monthly pass inside this card. Monthly pass is around 146 plus tax. It might be a little bit expensive for some people, but I think, you know, commuting every day, and at the same time weekends we go out, we go to the gym and go back and forth, it's cheaper. Because if you're gonna be just going one way through your bus or subway, you pay $3, and that's like included with the near transfers. If you're gonna transfer from the bus to train station to another bus, as long as it's a TTC line, then you only pay $3 one way. So if it's gonna be two way, it's gonna be $6. So $150 or $146, I feel it's very much cheaper compared to like if we're gonna buy or pay every single one-way ticket. So that's kind of like the transport. It's very straightforward. They have a bus system here, they have subway, and they have what they call streetcar. So now third category, which is food. I'm gonna be talking about two types, or like two ways we kind of like spend the food, which is eating out and at the same time buying in a supermarket or go to the grocery store. So there's different grocery stores in Canada, but I think the main ones are No Frills, Loblaws, and Metro. So we typically go, I would say No Frills, just because it's much more cheaper than going to Loblaws or Metro. So yeah, our typical probably grocery every week would be around $100 to $150. We probably have a lot of that, like meat, like our milk or our vegetables, you know, everything or snacks or fruits and whatnot. I think it's quite inexpensive compared to like Japan and Singapore. So 100 to 150 every week, I think it's quite reasonable, knowing that we bring lunch to work as well. So we don't really pay for lunch and we cook our dinner as well. But if you're gonna be eating out, a typical meal, I would say would really vary. There are quite a few here that's quite cheap, like maybe, let's say, $8, but if you go to a restaurant, I would say like a typical meal would be around 15 or sometimes $12 to $15, which is not going to be cheap because you have to pay for tips. So that's one thing that's different here compared to Asia, is that here in Canada or North America is you have to give tips. So tips could be, I say like typical would be 10 to 15%. On top of that, you have to pay for tax. So, you know, it really kind of like adds up to when you're gonna be eating outside compared to like eating at home and like cooking at home. When sometimes, you know, what we do is like we seldom eat outside, or sometimes it's just gonna be on the weekend, and then like from weeknights and weekdays we cook at home and we bring our food or we bring our lunch to work. That really helps. But yeah, those I think are just some of the things on how much we spend on the monthly basis. There might be, of course, more. Like we do have a dog and it adds up to that. So we pay for his food, you know, treats and whatnot. Or sometimes what we do to really save money is that we go to Costco to buy like basic stuff like toilet paper, pee pads for our dogs, or like rice, or like those something that we can buy in bulk, like dry goods like quinoa or brown rice, or like sugar, peanut butter and stuff like that. You're definitely going to be saving a lot more. But yeah, there are probably a lot more that I've missed out, but those are just some of the 3 kind of like basic expenses that I think of right now. I'm very interested to know or hear more about from you people on how much your living expenses wherever you live right now. Anywhere in the world, I think is very great or very interesting to compare. If you do have any questions or anything like that, comment down below. I'm probably gonna be putting much more information in this description box, so if you're interested to know a little bit more about different or how much your monthly expenses, it'll be there. Subscribe to my videos if you wanted to watch more of what we do or what I do, and hopefully I'll see you soon. Bye!